Yoni about um 13 years ago, or 12 years ago. Uh, Yoni and Angela, who are both here together right now, we were running a class. It was a circus school, a circus class for families. It was a partner acro class, and it was part of a larger studio that they had created in New York City for people to develop circus skills. Um, we joined the class and it was just an absolutely transformative experience. It was new ways of interacting between adults and children that were physical and creative and very liberating. And there was something really magical inside what Yoni was doing. And it was no surprise that Yoni eventually got involved in some very well-known projects after that, including the most prominent, what's called Adventure Playground in the US, which is a part of a movement that started in Europe in the right after World War II. Come on, Vincent. Hey. Where kids are given sort of a free space that's not completely controlled by adults, and they can do things that adults would consider to be dangerous, but in fact, kids are perfectly capable of managing themselves. And giving kids this kind of freedom had just huge positive effects everywhere they created these playgrounds. So Yoni and other people organized to create that kind of program here in New York City. They started out with little pop-ups. They were able to get some schools to sponsor them, and eventually they were able to get essentially a permanent site on Governor's Island. It has now become an institution. And Yoni is the leader on the ground at that institution. He manages staff that they call themselves playworkers, whose job it is to kind of like help manage the space, but not necessarily tell kids what to do. And one of their jobs is to keep adults out. And it's a really special thing. New York is unique. There are a few other places kind of like it around the world, but it is a very unique thing to have this. And it's also unique that it's become an institution that's been there for this long. And as part of that, Yoni has been spreading the gospel of the importance of play. And there's talks that you can find that he's given online. And we're really lucky to have him here today. It's especially momentous for Yoni to be here because we're an organization that is trying to innovate how to create a better world. And Yoni's work is that. Yoni's trying to create a new generation of kids who know how to interact in positive ways and not carry a lot of the baggage that our older generations would otherwise be delivering to these kids in new forms of oppression. And one of our goals as an organization is to support the International Declaration of Human Rights for Children. And that declaration is something that we're actively campaigning for through a non-governmental organization that is linked to ethical humanism. They have a seat at the United Nations among NGOs. One of the leaders of that organization is behind us, Muriel. And she and others have been working to build momentum around the US actually signing that declaration. It's the only country in the world that hasn't. So thinking about the rights of children and how it relates to our larger goals is really one of the main missions of our organization. So I'm just so glad that you come here and do this for us today. And I can't wait to see what it is. Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone in person and online. Glad to be here. Let me share. Thank you for the warm introduction, Bill. And I want to focus on young people's liberation through play. A lot of images from the playground. But the first thing I would like to do is to invite us all maybe to close our eyes and transport ourselves to our own childhood if we are not currently children, or any age that you feel is right for you? A time that you're having fun, that you're enjoying yourself, and trying to flesh out that memory as much as you can. Maybe think of where you are in the world. Are you with people? Are you alone? Are your different senses sensing things? Are you smelling, hearing, tasting, seeing? And also, are you feeling things in your body? Maybe some excitement, maybe relaxed. Trying to hold on to that and gradually returning to here and now is with that essence. For folks online, I don't know if you if it's a few people there or just one. But what I want to invite right now is that each person will turn to someone next to them. So maybe in pairs, maybe trios. Um, just give a moment for each person to share. This is what came up for me, and get to hear from the other person. Bringing us back together. Obviously, whatever memory came up for you is welcome, and there's no right or wrong here. What we're doing right now is, for a moment, just going for statistics. So, folks online, if you can participate with raising your hand, you're invited to. And folks here, how many of us had a memory that was outdoors? Most of us. And how many people had adults take a significant part in the memory? The opposite of most of us. um, Whenever I do this exercise with people, that is always the case. Most people have their memories being outdoors and adult minimal involvement, if at all. And thinking about kids growing up in New York City today, how much time do we have to be outdoors? How much time are we free to just be, to do what we're choosing, or are we being told do this, don't do that? That is very much the reality. Um, I'll not go super deep in, but when we talk about play, or when I am right now talking about play, the I'll say a little bit about what I mean, because people use the word play in many different ways. You could be playing the violin, you could be playing in a play, you could be playing soccer or baseball, or whatever. And we think about it as behaviors that are freely chosen, personally directed, intrinsically motivated, and done for their own sake. Which people might choose to play the violin and be self-driven, but also they might be doing it because they're being forced to do it. And so for the sake of our time right now, whenever I'm talking about play, it's not that kind. And I wanted to open up for everyone to share and kind of collectively think together. What are some of the things that we gain through play? From the liberation side of things, I want to say that play work practice uses a word that is kind of strange, at least for an American audience, adulteration. The term that I more commonly use is young people's oppression. And I want to say that all of us go through a phase of being young people. And as such, society mistreats us systematically just because we are of that group, seeing us as less than fully intelligent and capable, often using the excuse of, well, obviously young people have less information, they haven't gotten to learn certain things, and as if, and then knowledge and intelligence get conflated. And as young people, we are definitely dependent on caregivers. So if I get certain messaging about myself or confusing messaging, our tendency as human beings is going to be to interpret it as there's something wrong with me, because I can't say, oh, that adult is wrong and I'm going to leave them, because I can't. I'm not going to survive without them. At the very earliest phases. And that translates into us then being in a place that we are more willing to or susceptible to receiving other forms of oppression and sort of putting up with it, I'll call it. And from a different direction, becoming the agents of oppression towards others, be it around age or be it race, gender, sexual identity, whatever it is. And play is very much what young people want to be doing when they're not, when all their basic needs are met. And in play, we agree that there's all these benefits, and we get to process things. We get to experience what it's like to be the mom or the baby. We get to experience the robber and the policeman, whatever the game is. We like to get a sense of all the different options and figure things out about ourselves, about the world, about other people, about the environment. What can we do, or what can we think about as important things for supporting play? First and foremost, we got to put time for it to happen. Schools are mandated to give 20 minutes. They don't always give that 20 minutes. And if we think about it, what's 20 minutes? Like, I grew up in Israel. I had recess after every class. So every 45 to an hour and a half, I would have a break. Sometimes it would be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, not just once a day. Like, I was just in shock when I learned how things work here, or at least in New York City. And then after school, are we playing, or is it you get to choose chess or robotics? And with the time also going slower. So New York City is such a fast-paced place, and it's like we don't have time for this. We are always trying to push forward. So how can we make more time or reduce the pressure of time? Our approach, are we being allowing of silly behavior, of making a mess, of whatever it is, or are we trying to be very strict about everything and have a perfection that has a huge impact on how free we feel? And if you think about it as adults, like when you come to a place, do you feel relaxed with certain approach, or do you feel that, oh, I have to be in a certain way? Um, Obviously, connection between people, um, and was mentioned earlier, just the capabilities that young people have seen as, oh, they can't handle that. Actually, maybe give them a moment and see. It's like, will it be terrible if they try and they don't succeed? Um, and loose parts are something that maybe is less familiar term used in playwork and other professions. Just anything that can be manipulated, used, changed. Um, the normal playground, everything is bolted down to the ground. There's nothing to move. Sand boxes are mostly gone. Um, at the like at recess, maybe there's like a ball, maybe a hula hoop, and that's it. And then what happens? The loose parts are the people, and I start annoying my friend and nagging on them rather than when we have more things to do and use, we get more creative and we get less into conflict. Reflection as adults and to just think about what we're doing, what's working, what's not working, and try to do better. Um, I love this image of playworker with kids. The goal is to support play. He's in there with them, um, supporting to make sure that things are going okay, but they're very much driving the school in this case. We talked about mostly being outdoors, but you can have wonderful loose park play indoors. This is one example from way back, but we do it at times, even though we prefer outside when we can. And the materials can be adjusted. Um, this is an image that I love, and also for anyone wondering, New York City, you could get pianos for free. You just need to get the truck over there and load it. It's real easy. Um, it can be simple things like using face paint. Great opportunity. But you can use charcoal and not as obvious here on the left, but Ginny, one of our play workers, has plenty of dust on her face while she's being imprisoned in play. And if we can allow us to be part of the play, to be silly, messy, it is super valuable for the young people. And it gives a different view of what's an option and what, like, oh, if that's how the adults around me are behaving, then I don't have to be so afraid of what I'll do, and let alone when you're being told, don't get dirty, don't, you got mud on yourself, or don't fall. So many pressures that are being put on. Um, I can say that for myself, I definitely am more comfortable getting messy outdoors than indoors. So another kind of plug to go out, so that it's like, oh, I'm not concerned to spill water on the rug or whatever it is. What can we do to allow for a situation like this to happen? This is one of our after-school programs. And these two fifth graders decided to have a mud bath together. Nobody directed them to do this. This was, they had the time, they had the permission, they had the materials, and they had so much fun. And part of it is also making sure that we do have maybe some towels to dry them up and be able to go on the ferry and the subway and not freeze. Communication, and my all-time favorite sign from the playground. It's nobody's harming anyone. Allowing for whatever it is. So if it's the mud kitchen, costumes are such an amazing loose part and something to support play. We can put on identities that we can play whatever without the costume, but it helps get us there much faster. So having a rich environment that gives you things to figure out and manipulate, and that it's okay if it's gets broken or torn or whatever it is. That's why we use junk. If things break, they break. There's so much stuff that is thrown out in New York City all the time. I think I heard from the Bickler family that after Brooklyn Ethical, sometimes it's maybe time to go to Park Slope and look for things that are on the stoop.
Yeah. The free shopping zone. Everything.
And even though it's all junk, I often might feel like, oh, but that's a soccer ball that can be used and you're cutting it up. But this boy made such a great outfit. And he was playing hockey, like it was really amazing. I want to show a few videos. Pictures speak louder than words, and videos are a lot of pictures.
Are you really gonna do this?
Should I?
I'm not gonna recommend it. It's your decision. Well, we're closing the playground, so if you're going to, you have to decide now. And you don't have to. Oh! Did you hit yourself in the face? No. How'd it feel?
Good.
All right.
Hopefully not too much echo with it, but hopefully it'll be better for the next videos. This is
What's
off.
going on?
It's testing. We're testing to make sure it's inescapable.
He signed up to be a test subject. If he can't get out in
If it
30,
should
in
be.
about a minute
And 30 seconds,
we let her out.
we let her out and say that our walls and he couldn't get out, and you're more well than her. Now let's take a tour of the outside.
Wood in half.
They broke the wood edition in half, so this is metal edition. Come on.
Have a smaller area that parents could be with kids of any age, so toddlers can come in. But yeah, this last video.
Hello, guys. Let's shut it. Shut it. Shut it. Shut it. Shut it up. Shut it up. Shut it up. Stand it up and then just open it.
Open it now! Open it now while we're holding it!
No. You have to help. No. Keep putting it that way. Ow. No, it's not getting you help. I don't understand.
You got it, you got it.
Daddy, it's right here. Please open it. Open it. Open it. Close it up. We're gonna just come over here and we're gonna push it open. Keep pushing. Push.
That's as close as we can get.
Wait. Okay. Good. Good. No. Stop. Now.
You're not even.
No.
Let me do it.
Don't. You're gonna fall. It's tilting the other way. It's tilting.
No, I can do this.
No. I'm scared. No.
I won't fall. I'm leaning to this way.
Oh my god. It's gonna make it. Yes.
No. You have to lean toward the other side that it's leaning.
I'm going after, and you have to hold when I do it. No, I'm stop you. Add this force. Whoa. This. I can lean to this side. Can you hold that well? Because it wouldn't be enough weight.
Right. A little bit of time for questions.